Welcome to the Outside the Business Boxes podcast, where we're talking about how to ignite your business today for the future using systems for everything you do in your business to make your life, your employees' lives, and your customers' lives easier for you to ultimately enjoy your business and, of course, make more money. I'm your host, Chad Murray.
Thanks for joining me here at Outside the Business Box. I am Chad Murray, your hostess with the mostest here. Tonight, we have a special edition. We're going to talk sales. We're going to have a marketing tip every time now, because now that I'm a marketer, I'm going to give you tips, guys, on what your marketing company should be doing for you, or you could possibly do for yourself. And so, all right. So we have Alan Rush, the famed, wonderful sales guy here at Master Services this week. And I hope we're getting our money's worth out of him, because we did not be able to get him on the field that I'm aware of, because we have another ice storm in Dallas, Texas this week, and my business is essentially closed down, which normally I'd probably be a little freaked out about that, but we're already booked up and through March right now. So yeah, we'll take a little hit on cash, but we're busy, so we'll make it back up. That's just business as doing business, and you got to plan for stuff like that. So sales is the topic. He's here today. So I hopped on a Zoom call with those guys. I had about 30 minutes, or actually about 20 minutes to get on there with them. And of course, Alan, if you're in the chimney industry and you have not got lined up with working with Alan, I'm going to tell you, it's probably one of the best things you can do. Now, I can hold my own, I think, up against Alan, but I got to tell you, I say that, I mean, because I am a natural born killer salesman, and I love sales, but I tell you what, this guy he lives and breathes and eats it. I mean, all about the chimney industry, and he really does it. So if you're listening to me and you're not in the chimney industry, which I'm getting a lot of followers that are not, especially now that I'm getting a marketing following. If you need to look in your own industry and find who can help you, who can you hire to be a guru for you to help you advance your company? You don't know what you don't know. So go find something that you don't know and add it to your company that's going to get you ROI and really make a difference. And so Alan's at our business this week. They're doing the Zoom call today, and I hopped on there a little bit, and I was just, I've talked with Alan. We've been on podcasts before, so I already know his expertise. But I'll tell you, when you get him in a training and you listen to him talk, I'm good. But that guy is magnificent. I mean, he really spits out the chimney shit to where it just is fluent and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, he's a pretty big penny, but he's worth every dollar. And so I wish he'd have been out there to make some sales for us this week. But, hey, we got ice, and it is what it is. I'm glad he was able to make it in. So sales. So now that I'm marketing, and I've sold a pretty good chunk of clients now in the marketing business, I gotta tell you. So it's part of what was going on at the sales meeting with Alan today. They were talking about. When I hopped on, they were talking about organic, being yourself. Something that's been part of my teaching my guys to make sure they do it, and to be yourself, because when you leave, they don't want to know. They want to think of you as the plumber. They don't want to think of you as the chimney guy. They don't want to think about the pest guy. They want to think about you as, hey, that was Chad. They want to know who you know. They want to remember who you are. They want to like you. Yeah, that's Chad. He is the chimney guy, but I really like that guy. And I'm telling you, that's where the sales come from. I mean, I'm telling you, that's the difference between somebody selling $1 million a year and someone selling $400,000 a year. I don't care what industry you're in. I mean, really, literally, when you get when you have the it, then that's what makes it. Now, you still got to be trained, and you got to be the most fluent, and you never stop learning about your industry and your sales and stuff like that. I think a lot of people in their business, especially when you're under $2 million revenue a year, but you really are stuck at where you are, and you accept no training in the sales department because it's just business as usual. You think, well, I got to tell you, it's one of the biggest neglected things on smaller companies. And as you notice, the larger companies, What do? They train on it. Like I hire people to come in. We have meetings. We're training on rebuttals and scripting, how you talk to a client. We're talking about be yourself. It's never, ever going to go away with our company because we've got it as part of our culture and our training we're reminded. Salespeople get in ruts. So if you haven't taught a sales meeting and talked about rebuttals and asked people, like, in my business, I go, how do you, why do you buy our chimney cap? And the guy's got to spit out a rebuttal simultaneously. If they don't, I go, Matt, and I go to the next guy. Why do you buy our chimney cap? Well, you move it, not Matt, go to the next guy. And I keep going until I get the answer exactly fluently. They got to be quick on their feet and be able to do it. And they got to do it naturally. And so that's when you can do it with the boss, you can naturally do it even better out there with the client. So, they start coming down to rebuttals. And this is what's funny about my story I wanted to tell today. Is what is how teaching people how to do a rebuttal is, and doing it to where it's really organically done. I keep saying the word organic, but it's done so natural. It's not a rebuttal. It's an answer to a no or an undetermined client that doesn't know how to say yes because it's not in their nature for whatever reason, and you're really getting to the root of the problem of what is the answer. And so what I do, is I get to a level with all my clients. I mean, they really, really, they know who I am. They know that I was in the Army National Guard. They know I was in the Marine Corps generally. They know I have a bulldog. They know I have 5 daughters. They know I have married my high school sweetheart. Believe it or not, I show up to a chimney sweep when I used to do this, and I'm just so natural with being myself. All of that comes out. And a lot of people go, oh, that's a lot of stuff. That's so unnecessary to have that conversation. It's not even unnecessary. It's not even planned in my part. It's just part of me to be who I am, to talk to new people. When I talk to new people and things start coming out, that's just the natural conversation. And I'm good at making it not seem, where it's planned or forced. And it's not planned or forced because that is just me being me. And so, so this week I had a guy call me up during a football game on Sunday night, and I put a post out on Facebook showing some rankings that I had gotten a roofer. Of course, I have a lot of Facebook friends that I don't know, and somehow this guy became my friend at some point in time because of the chimney business. He actually refers chimney business to us, he says. And so so he messaged me during the second quarter of the game, and we started talking, texting back and forth, and a little bit about, working for him as a marketing company. And he goes, the dreaded, can I call you? And I'm like, oh shit, really? It's during a football game. But yeah, I mean, hey man, I'm for customers first, even on Sunday night during the NFC playoff game. But okay, let's do this. So he calls me up, and one of the big things, and it may seem like, I'm a talker and stuff, but I actually, when I'm in sales, I know how to shut up and I know how to listen. That's a big thing with sales. Know to listen to your client. So here I am listening to my client for about 20 to 25 minutes, berate and bitch about every SEO digital marketing company he's ever hired, how they are worth nothing. They don't get him results. They never contact him, show him anything they're doing. All the same old, And so I listen to all that, and then I finally get to where I can kind of get a word in and kind of take over the conversation. But I listened. I let him get it all out because I was hearing for what exactly he wants. Not just letting him air it all out, but I wanted to really hear, what his struggle is, what I can do to make sure I'm the right fit for him. I'm not gonna play anything up if I'm not it, but I'm listening for, am I his solution? Because I want to be the right guy to work for him. And of course, that's my goal. And so as I'm listening and I don't really take notes, but mentally I do. So I got done and started talking, and it's like, yeah, I show you all the work. That's part of my program. I'm unique to everybody else. I will show you exactly what we're doing. I'll tell you what we're doing. I don't care. I will show you the rankings. I'll probably text you more about how your rankings are climbing, all that kind of stuff, and blah, blah, blah. So we get down to it, we're now into it for almost an hour. I've been on the phone with this guy. And he's like, man, I really trust you. I really like what you're saying. I believe you. Showed him everything I'd done, with masters, and blah, blah, blah. And and he goes, the dreaded, I know I wasted your time tonight and everything, but I think I need to think about this for a minute. And I went right into sales mode. I felt comfortable with the client. He had dropped about 100,000 F-bombs. So I'm like, I'm comfortable here. And I just went right on into going, I'll tell you what, okay? You can get a good look at a T-bone by sticking your head up a bull's ass. But I think you'd rather take the butcher's word for it. And I said, did you see Tommy Boy? And he died laughing. And he goes, let's do it. I get it. And so you got to know your customer. And so I don't know why I've never used the head up a butcher. A cow's ass butcher thing, T-bone thing from Tommy Boy, but I did it and I played to my crowd and it made him laugh. And he's like, "You're right. I don't need to think about it. I trust you. Let's do it." So signed him up for a good thing, and I am going to get him some great rankings and la 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 la. So part of when you're dealing with starting out a smaller company, you might be nervous about, you teaching other people to sell your products because you don't quite know if they have the it factor like you do. Or pretty much most of the time the owner does, but finding that guy is hard. The it factor. So you don't want someone who's really good at doing the work, who really can't talk to the client that well, being your sales guy, because he's good. He's good at what he does out in the field, but he may not be a very good communicator on getting people to sign the dotted line. And that is something that is very tough for people because you have invested in this person to do all the work, and then comes to find out when you go do eat what you can kill model, where you sell it and then you got to go do the work. All of a sudden, the guy, he's not getting that much work because he just can't sell anything. And so I strongly suggest anybody in the service industry that is a estimate inspection / business. So like you've got to go out and estimate it. And then there's going to be work done behind that. I would train people to sell, and then other people specialize coming in there to do the work. Now, I'm not talking plumbers. I'm not talking about window washers, maybe window washers though. But electricians, you're going to show up as the the master certified, or at least the certified, licensed guy, and you're going to give a bid. And generally it's there's not much like to it, but think about it even if you're in one of these licensed niches, industries, the more personable the person is, the better that your sales will be. I got a perfect story for that too. So I had a guy that worked with me I coached him. Smaller company building up, and it was just him and one other guy. He did the sales, the other guy did the work, and they were in heavy equipment. We're talking like industrial size machinery, big machines. They sold them and serviced them and replaced them and refurbished them and did all that. And pretty good little business. The guy had his stuff together, and he wasn't hurting for money, but he was trying to grow his business. And in our first session, I always do an org chart, which is clearly just his wife, him, and the guy out in the field. And it goes like this. He goes, "Yeah, my wife, she's great, this, that, the other. I do this, that, the other." And now there's, we'll just call him Mr. Then there's Mr. Smith. Okay. Mr. Smith is awesome. He knows how to fix any equipment. He knows how to do the specialized equipment from this one retailer or this one manufacturer that a lot of people have or they want, and he knows how to fix it, sell it, set it up, just all blah, 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 all this. So I'm like, okay, great. So as you let them talk, and here I am back to me exercising my listening mode and just shutting up and let him talk, all of a sudden it turns to where it's a different beat. But Mr. Smith is real rough with the clients. He doesn't know how to, he's got a personality quirk where he's really rude sounding, and he is rude and this and blah, blah, blah. And he doesn't like selling that much. He just goes in there and does the bare minimum, but he can fix anything. And I really love him. And it's funny when I coach people, I hear that seems some similarity to a lot of business when I start working with them. They've got a guy they're super comfortable with who makes it their job easier that they think, but they know in the long run, that guy is not good for the business. He's floating you now. You're getting to an uncomfortable point. You know it's teetering on the guy's eventually going to leave or you're going to have to fire him. And you're just struggling to the day till that happens, so you're forced to do something. Why wait? Why wait? You know it's coming. Biggest lesson I think I've ever taught anybody and learned myself, and it's the hardest lesson to learn when owning a business. You can't change people. You can get people to be better, but you can't change them if they're not willing to change. Most people are not willing to change. They might say they are, but the actions will show that they're not. And that's tough, and that's rough, because when it comes down to a guy like, especially in that guy's position, it was his only guy out in the field. And he didn't know how to fix a lot of the stuff that this guy knew how to do. So he felt like he was between a hard rock and a hard place, whatever, right? And I told him literally the first session, I said, you're going to need to start looking for a replacement. You need to look, because it is inevitable this guy's going to bail on you. And sure as shit, month 2, his biggest customer hocked the guy, stole him to go work for him in-house and undercut him and took the guy. And the guy literally dropped his shit off his van and said, thank you, I'm going to work for this guy. No hard feelings. He literally called me. He's like, I just literally don't know what I'm going to do. I said, well, did you take an ad out? He goes, I did not. I said, okay, well, let's get on it. I said, we're not going to cry over spilled milk here. No, let's go. Let's move. Let's make sure we find the right ad. We do the right thing and get the right guy or a couple guys in here. Because at that point, he made enough money. It's like, we need 2 guys, not 1. We need 2. So we're never in this position again. Lessons, learn the wisdom. You can't afford not to have someone back someone else up, and you can't afford to have them. So what is it? Which is better? Let me tell you. You can always do more work when you have more people, but you can't do more work if you don't have them. If you don't have the work, well, guess what? You don't have to pay the guys, or figure out a way that you can still keep 2 people when it slows down a little bit. Most people get it. You're a business. You're going to figure out how to keep 2 guys busy. This goes to show as you keep growing how you'll get more guys. And I always suggest have that backup. Have that guy that's ready to jump in another truck. Because they always quit at the worst time. So we had our 2, second year guys this past, last fall, quit on me right in the beginning of the fall. They were brother-in-laws, which I have a rule on that. No more brother-in-laws, not in the same department at least. No more 2 sales guys, educators that are related. That will never happen again. Funny thing is, I already learned that. Thought I had that as a rule, and it was not. And they did it, and I didn't know about it. If I had known about it, I probably would have said, no, do not hire the other guy. So anyway, I've been there. I know it's tough. I know what it's like to be in that position where, oh, crap. They have to have it to sell. You got to have someone backing them up, training, someone that can do it. These are all the things that you have to think about when you're running a small business that that is going to make your life easier. A lot of people ask me, well, Chad, how I got to ask this twice today, actually. You mean you retired in 2014 from operations and you haven't worked there in any capacity? And said, for the most part, no, I have not. I have been sucked in a couple times, but I'm not going to get into those stories today. But most of the time, out of the last 9 years, I do not have an office, nor do I go there, anything like that. As a matter of fact, in our sales meeting today, there's a new guy in there. I don't even know his name, other than I saw his name on the Zoom. I didn't even know he existed. And people ask me, well, how do I get there? Well, you got to start doing the right stuff that's going to back up other people and to where you never get in a jam. You're still going to get in jams, but you got to make the jams less effective to you to where it's going to hurt so much. And so always have a backup or someone training and make sure that when something bad happens, someone can step up and jump into those shoes to where it's particularly not you. And that's how you start, And so let's do the marketing tip. So the marketing tip, it's very simple. Let me do a little music. Marketing tip. Link, if you have buddies that own businesses, link to each other. Doesn't matter if it's the same niche. Go ahead and write a blog about your buddy on your website and link it to him. And then have him do one back to you. It's so easy. Most of us all have buddies in either the same niche or in other niches. So what? If you're a service business, you can link it to anybody. I was literally telling a landscaper today, I said, if you wanted to link to Disney, let's say you knew someone that worked at Disney World, and I'm just saying, this is not a great example. I'm just trying to give you an idea. So Disney World linked to a landscaper. Well, how do you make that relevant on a blog for Disney World? Well, Disney World has a lot of grass. They have a lot of landscaping. Not real hard to talk about Disney World landscaping and then tie it back to the landscaper. So like if you're a plumber and your buddy's or let's just say you're a plumber and your buddy is a window washer. Well, how do you link them back? What context would you use in a blog to make that relevant? Well, window washer, talking about a plumber is you can tie it into you both work on outside of the house with sticky bushes you have to work around. And that's all you got to do is do the whole article about window washing and sticky bushes and stuff like that, how hard it is to do the job. And also say, you know what? Plumbers have to access their stuff right below where I'm at as well. Everything can be a story too. So if you do a blog and you do it about a story, anything can be in a story, right? I mean, you can imagine whatever and link it back to anybody. Now, how relevant is it? Typically, honestly, there's a lot of debate on that out there in the airways. A link's a link. I mean, there are better links if it's about, if my whole website's about chimney and I'm linking to a chimney guy, apparently to Google, that's supposed to be a better link. I don't know. If window washer linked to me, I bet you it's the same relevancy. If not, who knows? I look at it more as the score of the website, how much relevancy it is to the link to come back to you for that. So that's our marketing tip. Link to each other. That's just so simple. It's so easy. And so if you're another SEO company listening to me, digital marketing tip, link your clients to each other, dummy. I mean, it's an easy link. You're already writing content. Go ahead and link each other. It's so easy. Okay, so that's the marketing tip. And so, yes, let's get back to business. Business, boys and girls. All right, it's the last day of January in 2023. You made it. You're going in month 2. Typically, one of the hardest months of most home services business is the dreaded February. February sucks. So what do you do to make it non-suck? What are we going to do to make February non-suck? Well, if you're already here, you're trying to figure out February, your February is probably going to suck. Okay. If you want to plan for next year's February, what are you going to do? Well, most Februaries, since they're not related to home services conduits to being a busy time, you got to find your niche, or whatever you could do at that time. I don't know what that is for you. I mean, for me, it was we had built our masonry side up to hopefully sell enough jobs that would book us out a few months after Christmas. Well, it didn't. It went out 3 months. Even better than I thought. Now, I don't know what your niche could do and what you could do to do something in February. But if you can't do anything, let me give you a word of advice. What I did for years. Save up enough money to cut everybody's hours, but still pay everybody a living wage so that everybody can go through February and the beginning of March and eat it and pay for your company to survive. Save up enough money to do that. And the funny thing is, it just starts with you starting to bank money to get to a certain point that you need saved up for those months. You should have, and I used to laugh at this number. I used to laugh. I thought it was impossible. How do you save up 3 to 6 months of income to not worry about a bad month, a bad week, a bad day? What would you do? How much would you need? Well, here's the crazy thing about that. You're never going to do it if you don't start. But you need to find out what it is now and start getting to that number. Even though that number will grow as you scale, you need to save up money for that rainy day. If you're operating always on a tight budget, you're operating a hard business. Okay? Master Services saves up to $400,000 to $600,000 because we're a large company. We're closing in on $5 million this year, and when we have a crappy month, we literally can lose, I don't know, $125,000. But it doesn't. It sucks. It's horrible. But I'm not sitting there going, how do I make payroll and how do I pay my mortgage next month? I hope we have a good month. No, we still have enough money to lose more than multiple months. And so in my awesome business, those guys, they now have it to where other than our frozen out this week, which will lose them a little money this week, probably 30, 40 grand. It's a lot of money, but we have so much on the books, we'll make it back. We'll make that back in the next 2 months. And so what can your business afford? What do you need to do to get through the times to where you are comfortable? Running a service business, guys, it is the hardest thing to do because most home services businesses are not booming 12 months a year. You're going to have your downtimes. And so there's a couple things that I suggest. Number one is save money. Number two is find something niche to do. And number three, if you can go to a subscription model type of deal that would carry you through some months somehow to do that, figure that out. So like with my marketing and my coaching company, it's a subscription model. Essentially, I repeat my customers' stuff every month. So I don't worry about, am I going to make any money next month in my coaching or marketing company? Because I might lose a client or two. I'll sell a client or two, and I'll probably sell more than I lose, if all that happens. And I'm not worried about, am I going to be able to buy the baby shoes? I'm not going to worry about buying milk. I'm not going to worry about the eggs now that eggs are $9 an egg, And so this is what you're trying to get to, comfortability with small business. And sometimes you got to stop looking at sales driven everything. And you got to start looking at comfort. How am I going to get comfortable? Number one, I'm going to be comfortable with someone backing up if someone quits. I never have to worry about it. I got someone backing them up that'll be in their shoes. And then I'll find someone else to back that guy up. Number two is I have enough money to make it through the bad times. And then I'll keep saving to make sure that what we call the nut, that's your purse of money. That's where my nut report, if you've listened to my podcast in the past, I have a nut report. And the nut report came from How much money, David, my CFO for 20 years? How much money I got, David? What's the nut? That's always I say that. I say it today. I asked him last week. What's the nut? How much cash I got? And so that's what you have to do. You have to find out what your nut is, and make sure you have more money than that, so that if you have a bad time, you're not going to go out of business. I mean, everybody, God damn, you look at Fox News right now. Everybody's so worried that the whole world is going to collapse right now with the economy. It's so ridiculous. It is. It's ridiculous. And you might have less leads right now, but let's think about what is the reckoning of 2023. The reckoning is I don't care what your political views are. The reckoning is whatever's happening in the office right now, it is not creating a booming economy. Okay? It is not helping out money flow from consumers into the market, although that is the one thing that is holding us back from a qualified recession. Is there's still money being pumped in. But I hear all the time how people's leads are slowing way down and this, that, the other. And hey, it's also, you can't go 3 years after, $10 trillion has been pumped to the economy. I mean, what did you do with all that money in the last 3 years? I mean, I bought a property, and it was really hard to get through this fall with the property and some mental stuff. It was tough. We got through it, and here we are. I'm better than ever. I got a marketing company going, blah, blah, blah. I prepared and I built my nut back up to over 400 grand right now. And so what are you doing to secure your future? Secure the guys behind you no matter what. The biggest thing I would promise anyone I would teach you if I was coaching you is this. Get one person. Get that guy trained or girl trained, and get them so trained and so loving you and you loving them about the business. They see the future. They see what you're going to do, and they want to be part of it, but they don't have to be micromanaged. They get their job. You teach them, and they do it exactly the way you want it, and they do it, but you have to manage them to make sure that they're doing their job and make sure that they are, and blah, blah, blah. And eventually you don't have to manage them at all because they're doing their job better than what you thought. They're coming to you saying, I want to do this. There's your one person. That's one department. So if that's your call center person, great. You got the office taken care of. If that's your technician on the field, great. That's your technician. You need one for both. You need one in the office. You need one over in the outside. Then you need to start dealing with your other technicians, that might be doing the work, or a sales guy or whatever. I don't know. Fact of the matter is, you need one guy, and then get him backed up and let him train someone else. And hopefully that guy stays with you forever, but it is what it is. But if he doesn't, he's just trained another guy. Is either already in his own truck or ready. And you know what? You don't have you have another guy that can train somebody, or you can tweak him to do it or something. But that's how you do this, guys. You're building insurance behind everybody. You got to look at your business as a little insurance agency. My sales division, do I have insurance behind it? My call center, I have insurance behind it. My technicians, do I have a little insurance? Do I have one extra guy? It's funny. It's funny how jobs can go more smoother if they have one extra guy, and how they can possibly do more revenue per production a week. So, guys, I hope this has helped you guys, everybody out there. I am trying to make the best of you guys until you get what I know in this wonky brain of mine out to everybody. So I have an announcement. It is, like I said, January 31st. My book is done. I have it to the illustrator, and it should be out on Amazon by March, if not latest April. We're still on a working title right now, but it is at this point titled "Go Get Yourself in Trouble: The Service Industry Stories" or something like that for me. And we haven't quite figured out the second half, but "Go Get Yourself in Trouble" is going to be the name of the book, I think, for sure. And then it's going to be the subtitle, which we are still working on. And so it is a book about my life growing up in the service business and my entrepreneurism starting out, wouldn't believe it or not, when I was like 6 or 7, all the way up to the present current day. And so I hope you enjoy it. I hope you will get a copy of it. I won't be recording Audible probably until summer. but I would hope everybody could go on Amazon and get it and enjoy it. It is a special read because it's about me, and I'm done some really dumb fun stuff. So it's enjoyable, but it also helps you with your business and kind of the progression of how I grew an accidentally over $4 million service company and growing. So guys, that's my time. Thank you everybody, and we'll see you next week.